Okay, nice. I think we have a new link for YouTube. I'm just gonna share it with the people who are waiting on the Luma.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Cool. I think we are live. I'm gonna share the link with people on.
We're live.
Yes.
All right. Almost done on my end here.
Cool. Awesome. I think we can get started. The YouTube link was, I don't know, there was some problem with YouTube, so I changed the link. I updated it on Loom as well, so you might get a notification, like everyone who's watching. But we are already live on Twitter and LinkedIn as well.
Nice.
Of course, why not? Yeah, so there are like 100 people watching right now. I'm assuming a lot of people will join later. But hey, everyone, thanks for finally joining. I'm really excited about today's stream because I think after months, I'm so excited about a new protocol that is coming in. There were so many good features. And today we are going to discuss Tempo. So if you don't know, Tempo is the new EVM-L1, the blockchain designed for payments. And yeah, we are just going to wait for a few more seconds. Actually, not. We can just get started. So
Yeah,
today, our special guest is Andrew. And Andrew is if you don't know, he's the co-founder of Herd. And before Herd, he was at Dune. And he is a very famous and my favorite technical content creator in the space. So if you don't follow him on Twitter, go and give him a follow. Thank you, Andrew, for joining. How's it going?
Thank you. I'm back at my childhood home in LA for this week, so that's why my Wi-Fi might be a bit slow. Video's off, so people get to see my PFP. But I'm not trying to be anon or anything. My face is ready. My face is already out there.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to see Andrew, go to his Twitter and listen to his talks. He gave a good talk this year at DuneCon, so go and listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and okay. Yeah, let's get started. So just the agenda for everyone. I'm just going to start with the quick overview of the features of like the Tempo and what they are trying to build. And then we will play with it and try to like deploy a token and, a stable coin, because of course it is a stable coin focused chain. We will explore their new features like native account abstraction. Tempo has their own explorer, like they built their whole new explorer, so we are also going to check that out, and we will try to see what breaks, what is working. It's EVM chain, but there are few differences as compared to current EVM chains, right? And the chain is very much focused on stablecoin payments, and it is engineered in such a way. And these features that I'm talking about, like native account abstraction and new token standard, they are available at the protocol level so that developers can focus on building the application instead of building around the infrastructure. Like as of now, if you're building an EVM, you will need a different account abstraction provider and a different gas sponsorship person, like infrastructure provider. But everything is built in the protocol itself with the Tempo. So Andrew, you want to take this stage and share your screen?
Yeah, sounds good. Let me just make sure I don't share anything I'm not supposed to. All right. Cool. So yeah, Tempo testnet was, I think it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And they have great docs, but there's a lot of things here in protocol specs that are somewhat different from how not normal EVMs work, but extends off of the normal EVMs. And so anyone who's, I think as Utah mentioned, try to follow all the different account abstraction standards or token standards or all of that stuff, it's usually pretty confusing to navigate. So I'm just going to set the stage first by actually just starting with the new transaction type. I think this is not the easiest place to start, but I feel like a lot of times when you have like 15 or 20 new concepts, you kind of need like one concept to anchor to as you learn the other ones. Otherwise, it's kind of like, oh, how does like tip 20 play with fees, play with like the fee decks or stablecoin decks or blockspace and all of that. All right. So I think if you're reading about Tempo, I would honestly start here. And so this main change is, I'm just going to specification, is that there's this new Tempo transaction, which has types, right? And Ethereum transactions always have types. I think I'm going to bung it up. I think we have 3 Ethereum types right now. Ethereum transaction types. I think there's 3 legacy. Yeah, there's legacy. I'm very wrong. There's 5, I guess, existing types, right? So a lot of these types basically introduce some changes to how you submit transactions, right? Which has implications on wallets as well as on RPCs, because there have to be standards for how data is structured when it's submitted. And so, yeah, you can see legacy types are here. And then 209030, which has access list, has a different type, EIP 1559, which was from 2021 now, I think. This has type 2. This one's less important to us right now, but it's important to roll-up people. And then 7702 transactions was the newest. I think that was May this year, which allowed you to delegate your wallet to a contract, right? So you can turn any EOA into a smart contract account essentially without the 4337 approach. And so, yeah, this is all a lot harder to follow when you're just reading, right? So I normally always like to explore by pulling up an Explorer and then also pulling up the Alchemy dashboard for testing things out. This is like anytime someone's comes in as an analyst or data engineer and they're like, I want to learn crypto data, or like I want to learn how to build crypto apps. I'm just like, okay, do not start with like GitHub or Dune or like something you saw on Twitter. Literally come to the sandbox and get familiar with RPCs, because if you don't understand this, you'll have no idea what you're building on top of. And like, it doesn't matter if you're a data engineer, app dev, maybe first lady dev is a bit different, but I've used this dashboard for 5 years. It's changed a lot, but it's just been mainly the same, where you select your chain and then you'll have probably 100 or so different RPCs here, right? And these are all standards. So let's actually, we could just start with the Tempo Explorer actually. So if I just go to here, copy this hash in, we can start simple. We can do a get transaction by hash. And if I put this in here and I send the request, you'll see this type is actually legacy based off of here. And let's actually, this now gets into the fun part of, I am not expecting everything to work immediately. I think part of the things that happen when you're creating a new standard, when you have a new transaction type, is it has to be supported across obviously the chain, the explorers, the RPCs, etc. So I think for today's stream, we're very much like, we're testing things out and seeing what is expected or unexpected. So I would have expected that this type was 076. But I guess that maybe for Tempo, especially from their docs, maybe they default. Oh yeah, they actually say it says legacy here. I'm dumb. So it's interesting. So I think I can't tell if this is from their docs or not. So let's actually, the nice thing about Tempo docs is that you can actually deploy or interact with the chain from the docs. So I'm trying to remember where, let's see if I can find it. They let you create a stablecoin straight from the docs. Here we go. All right, so I can sign in. Please don't dox me. All right. Great. Now everyone knows my password length. Very fun. Let's just call this. Am I allowed to call this alchemy? Probably not. So I'm deploying a transaction from their docs because I'm curious. Yes, okay. So from their docs, the transaction type is 076. So if I plug this in to here, I should be able to see, yes, now we have this new type here. All right. And again, you can always see it defined in here already. This is Rust, in case you're curious what the hell pubstruct is. I think this is Rust, right? Yeah, this must be Rust.
Yeah.
They love Rust. But I always prefer to go from docs to on-chain as fast as I can. So I'm now looking here and I can see, all right, let me side by side put this transaction with what I see here, because there might always be things that just aren't shown in the Explorer. So something else that I might want to do is I actually want to put these side by side. So this was a legacy transaction, right? Yeah. So I'm actually going to go and put this one in as well. And there's a few ways of going through this. One might be I just copy both of these into ChatGPT and have it explain to me the differences. But since I've already read the docs, there are two key things I'm interested in. The key authorization doesn't matter to me right now that much. There were changes in how you can sign things that extend the capability of the chain, but we're not going to talk about that now. The main difference is this. You now have this calls array, right? And for calls, you can see to, value, input, and data. I actually didn't know about this data field before. Was that in the docs? Vec call. Their docs are out of date. So there's to, value, input. I see data here. My immediate question is now, is this a duplicate from the RPC where input, it was named data at some point and then it got replaced to be called input because that is what input used to be called, or input is called on legacy transactions, and data was not deleted from the RPC? Or is this something where data does exist here, but it's just not updated in the docs? So that's a question from my end, and I don't see a link to the repo for this transaction type. I'm sure there's a Rust implementation. There it is. It'd be nice if that was just here. Like as someone who's been a DevRel, there are two things you learn about documentation. One is no one reads the overview page. Everyone skips to the subpage. And rule two is if there's more than 3 or 4 things here, no one reads it. So anyways, so this is temp transaction. Dude, they really need, like, GitHub needs a chat just right here. The Copilot should be here. Calls, vector call, pubstruct call, value, input. Okay, so it's not in here as well. So it's not that they forgot it from the docs. This just seems like an RPC problem, which might be from Reth or from Alchemy, who knows? But anyways, point being, this shouldn't be here. And now if I go back to what's different, so transactions typically always have you call a specific to address with some value, where value is like the ETH or the native chain value, or the native chain token value. And then there's input, which this is how you actually call a contract, where the first 4 bytes are the function signature, right? So there might be, I don't know, this is an ERC20. I know it's a TIP20, but it's like the ERC20 token that has like a transfer function. This doesn't look like the transfer. function signature. But anyways, you have a transfer function, and then there's bytes here, 32 bytes per argument. So it might be like, oh, I'm transferring from my address to another address, right? And so big difference now is with this new transaction type, you can actually bundle multiple calls, which we will actually do in a second. I'm not going to do it right now. But now that actually is a structure that but is native to Solana. So let's see if the Solana documentation has improved at all. Okay, yeah. So in Solana, they call the transactions messages. And when you send a message, you have this vector of instructions, which, can I find it here? Yes, you can see for Solana, there's a set of instructions that has a program ID and accounts, which you can think of as the two, basically, and then you have data, which is input for us, right? So on Solana, all transactions have always been like multi-call batched. But on Ethereum, if you wanted to batch transactions, you always had to use like a multi-call 3, like a contract that has an execute function on it, or multi-call, whatever. Oh, I guess they have an aggregate here. But normally it's you see execute or aggregate or something. This is common on like 7702 or 4337 contracts. For 4337, it's called handle user ops, but it's essentially an array of call data. And so this is one of the biggest changes that they've made, is instead of expecting people to use like account abstraction, where you have to create a smart account wallet, which is another contract, or delegate your current wallet to a contract, which is 7702, you now natively get this batch execution here, right? And there's a lot of benefits to this. One of the main ones is for things like the classic, I want to swap a token, but I have to approve before I swap, and that requires the user to sign twice. Now this is only signing once, right? And there's stuff like 5792 for getting around signing multiple transactions, but this is a much cleaner way of solving this problem. And so I'd say this is one of the main differences that will affect devs, probably affects RPCs, and then also just the DevX of and UX of apps. The other big thing that's changed. All right, sorry, I've not let you talk at all. I've just been rambling.
No, it's fine. You can just go ahead. I was also talking about there is one more method, which is the ETH get balance one, which might break a lot of changes because Tempo doesn't have like a native token, right?
That's a good call. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Actually, if you're gonna call it, as far as my research, you're gonna get like a big hex number. So let's do it.
Yeah, let's see. So the one that my smart account is tied to. Oh, UX thing. You should always be able to copy any of these just with a click. So now if I go here, get my balance, I see this, which I can just take into this place here. I'll swap these around, convert. What the hell?
Yep. Yeah. So that they did it on purpose, just because they wanted to like make sure that there is something there, like a large number, right? So this will like break a lot of wallets, because the entire logic of wallet is that it checks the accounts that if they have the native balance or not, right? And if you don't have it, and if there is nothing, if there is a big number and it's returning a hex decimal, right? So the wallets are going to break.
I think it would actually have been better to just set this to 0. Setting it to a high number breaks more things than setting it to 0. Because I'm just thinking from everything from like simulations to like balances, it's like a lot of apps are built around like, oh, if their balance is 0, there's probably some warnings and stuff that come up.
I mean, fair, but if you set it to 0, then if my account is trying to do a transaction and it checks that my native balance is 0, then how am I going to perform a transaction?
Right. I mean, that also gets into, I'm very curious how, let's see. Let's start getting more advanced now. So I used Alpha USD for creating this token. If I go to my balances, I'm guessing, was this sponsored? Can I see if who paid this? How do I see who
Probably in
paid?
the Explorer. No.
I don't think I saw it here. Transaction fee. It doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me who paid my fee. Because I'm looking here and then I'm looking at my, I was looking at the hash. If I look at my account, okay, I have some 4 mil Alpha USD. So I have Alpha USD, Path USD, which is their native routing token, Beta USD, Theta USD. Okay, I'm guessing this is
By the way,
rounded.
for the users who are joining now, Tempo has this feature because they don't have a native token. So you can literally choose your token that you want to
Right.
pay fees in. And most of them are going to be like stablecoin. You can go to their docs and you can check out like how the gas system works. But mostly just to give you a TLDR, they don't have native stablecoin. You can choose your stablecoin of what you want to choose for paying the fees.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I want to play with is, so also this should show me address or something on Hover. So I have Alpha USD. It'd be interesting to see what happens or how we can pay with Beta USD. Because then that should go through their fee dex, which I think you always have to pay with a stable coin. Do you have to pay with a stable coin? Must be a USD native TIP. I actually don't remember if for fee AMM, the token you're paying the fee with, if it has to be a stable coin or not. I remember because one of
I
their
think it
dexes,
has to be.
does it? It doesn't say here.
Yeah.
Fee specification.
I think so.
A TIP are TIPs stable coins, or are they just?
No, TIP is like a standard, like ERC20 standard.
Yeah.
Like,
I know that, but because in here in the docs, all they say is you can pay with any TIP token, right?
but
But
whose currency is USD, so which means a stable coin, no?
well, I think it's just quoted in USD. It doesn't say exactly
Interesting.
that it's as long as that stable coin, who's currently, as long as that stable coin. So that grammar here suggests that every TIP is a stable coin. Which this gets into, we should write a running list, but here, this is a good time for us to actually run into code now that we've been yapping enough. I already have. And yeah, I have no idea how long we're going to go, but we have a lot to test out. So we already tested seeing 076 transaction and compare it to legacy. Some things we want to be able to say is like TIP20, how to see quote and liquidity, because the dexes are in precompiles, so you don't have read functions. I think in the same way of like if I was on Uniswap, I'd have a read function for getting the square root price, or you don't have a read function for, well, yeah, you do have a read function for getting like reserves and stuff. But I actually don't know how we see that in TIP20s with fee AMMs. So that'll be interesting to see. Are TIP20s stable coins always? So we have that. We want to test sending a transaction with 2 transfers and using what was the other token I have? Beta USD. Let's try using Beta USD, which is this one, and then test reading traces from this transaction, right? And then if we have time, test calling the precompiles directly. So the way these dexes work is there are precompiles. I don't know if I can find a transfer here. Let's see if we can actually find the precompile address. Do you have the precompile addresses? Account keychain? No. They must have like some page that's like, hey, here are all like deployments page that's like, here are all of the precompile addresses, right?
It's not in the docs. Should be.
I don't see it. This
I
okay.
actually
Here's
show a
I
page.
see
Yeah.
this. I this fee. Oh, and this is
Yeah.
fee manager. Is that the same as the fee dex?
Let me check.
No, fee AMM contract is different from
Fedex.
fee dex. Let's see. I need to open my phone with the chat with the tempo devs.
Yeah, let's
Like, hey,
invite Georgia.
where are the precompile addresses for the fee AMM and stable dex? Well, need a precompile and list.
Yeah, for also the people joining now, and also if you don't know what TIP20 is, so Tempo is, as I said, it's a new EVM-L1. So they launched their own token standard. So it is extending the current ERC20 token standard. So Ethereum has this ERC token 20 standard, right? And which according to us is also like very old, according to me at least, and there are some problems with it. And Tempo is like extending that standard and also adding some new features, some new methods to make sure that it is very stable coined. How do I say that? Very stable coined aligned or
friendly.
yeah, stable coin featured.
All
Yeah.
right.
So there
I
are
was
like
just gonna show
multiple
my keys.
features. Sorry.
Sorry, go on. No, I was just making sure I was going to leak one of my keys. Tempo test.
Oh.
Or I'm just going to start.
Yeah.
I'm going to just use it. Sorry, go on.
No. Maybe I can just also share my screen on the side.
Go for it.
Well,
I'm going to need both of these. All right. We're going to set this in here. Doesn't really matter that I'm doing this because this will be deleted anyways. And now we can use cursor and say, hey, can you try and set up oh, how am I going to do this? All right, well, we'll see. Submit transaction to the tempo PC and L under CRL using the new tempo transaction spec. Or I'm just going to give it this with type ERC2. Let's just try a basic transfer of one token of let's just try transferring alpha USD to, and let's just transfer it to ourselves for now. Where's my address? This is my address.
By the way, we are vibe coding and trying to do some transactions and see what breaks.
Yeah. I'm realizing one problem I have is I can't export. I don't think I can export this key. And so, and I also, if I generate a private key, I don't know if they have a faucet yet. Oh, get faucet funds. Here we go.
Yeah, there is a faucet. Yeah.
Okay.
And why can't you get a private key? It's your MetaMask, right? Or you just don't want to show?
Oh no, like I meant from the, so they use passkeys, I think with Porto in the docs.
Okay,
and I was like, oh, I want to just use that wallet, but I actually don't know how I don't even know how to. Yeah. I don't even know how to pop up Porto to see that stuff. Okay. If I add funds to here, and I'm gonna just tell cursor spin up a new private wallet for me. Just
Okay,
store the
till the
ETH.
time you do that, I'm just gonna take the stage from you
Yeah,
and
go for it.
discuss
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
DIP20.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, remove Andrew from stage, add my screen. So as I was talking about TIP20 standard, they have extended the typical ERC20 standard just so that it is more stablecoin aligned and added some really good new features. So one of the features is transfer memos. Where is that? This one, right? So with that, you can like enable a 32 byte memo to the transfer. So imagine like you're doing a transfer on the blockchain right now with ERC20 standard. There is no way to like drop a note for the payment references, right? Any invoice ID or any note that you want to drop. And actually, I've been talking to a lot of devs, and they told me that they need this feature even on the Ethereum because it's very hard for them to like have a reference for a particular transaction, because if they want to pass on that transaction to another service, right, it gets very hard to like customize it, right? So that's a really good new feature. And another feature was that usually when you are deploying a stable coin, like let's say Tether, right, they have this pause function. So initially, like in the native, like the original ERC20 standard, there is no such thing as pause, right? So you can't pause a particular address, or you can't block a particular address to do the transaction. So for that, if you want to do that, you have to use something like OpenZeppelin, like an extension to add that particular function. But with Tempo, they have already built in the block function, like the pause function inside the protocol itself, inside the standard itself. So you can just directly use it. Let me go to the code and show that to you guys. Okay, so this is the TIP 20 standard. The ERC20 standard, again, the same, and all the functions are already there. And then if you go down, you will see the TIP20 extended function. So here you can see the memo that we talked about, like for references. And I think this is very, very important when you are especially focusing on stablecoin, and being probably like Stripe is going to be, I don't know, taking in charge, and Tempo is going to power Stripe's transactions. So it's going to be like a very important feature for them. And then the next one, the pause function that I was talking about is here. So you can like pause the contract and block the transfer. So if you go to any major stable coin right now on Ethereum or any chain, they have this pause function, but it's not native. They have to use like an extension to do that. And there are multiple like other features as well, like new features that I think you can explore. Of course, we are not going to go through all of that, but this is like really great, and you can explore all of that. Yeah, I think multiple features. Of course, we can't talk about everything, but they do have still have approval function. I mean, they could have removed that because approval is such a pain in the ass. I mean, because a lot of
It's
hacks
too
that
ingrained. It's
happen.
too ingrained.
Yeah, it's just such a pain in the ass. But the problem is, what I think so, that they wanted to be EVM compatible, and as they wanted to extend the ERC20 standard, they can't get rid of it. So, but anyways, they have native account abstraction, of course, 7702, on Ethereum as well. So you can do that. But again, yes, overall, I really like this TIP20 standard. uh, yes, and if there is any new method that you think is awesome, just maybe comment and we will explore that too. Yes, are you ready, Andrew? Should I pass on the
Yeah,
stage?
that was great timing for me to fix things up.
Okay.
Um,
uh, okay, you have sharing the telegram, so you might want to remove that.
yeah. No, I'm closing this side. So this is chat. So Alexei says fee address is the same, stable. I thought that the
Oh
fee.
wow, you literally posted in the Telegram group. Okay, nice.
Oh yeah, I will always bother people. It's their job. If it was a pre-compile, not a contract. Stable dex is at 0xDEC. All right, so we're juggling a few things at once, but I just want to see. This address is an account. Interesting. Wait, so StableDex is a contract, and VM is a contract. I could have sworn at some point they said that they were precompiles. Maybe there's precompiles within them, or I'm just
Let me
like,
check out that.
or I'm just losing my shit. Anyways, so I added funds to testnet to my account. I think the docs RPC actually lost track of things, but this transaction hash, while it says it timed out here, I do actually have it here. So it says that they minted me 1 mil ALF USD, and so in my repo here, and we'll share this repo after, I have a generate wallet. This is literally just for testing. Never generate your wallet and store it in any file in a repo. Do not do this. I'm just doing this for testing. This is just testnet. No real funds will ever go on here. Please do not do this. But for testing, it's fine. So my public address is here. And so now that I have this ALF USD, yes, MetaMask, I know you have new features. Okay, I'm going to, I have to pick the asset before. Dude, wallet UX is painful to me. All right, so I need to send. I need to pick tempo testnet. No token matching your filters. Excuse me? Can I not? Hello? Account 1. All right. Let's see what's going on here. So here, sender, I need to view the full transaction. It is sending to me, right? And I do have 1 mil of alpha USD now, which is at this address. However, when I go to transfer on Tempo, oh, was it just not show? What? Oh, hey, this is our friend that you mentioned, our giant balance.
Oh, yeah.
So it shows up as USD. That's fun. It shows up like that. I can't search the token for some reason. So can I send it in Xerion? How do I overview explore? Send. All right, let's. Do they support Tempo testnet? Nope, they don't support Tempo testnet. Great. All right. I don't think I have any way of sending this. I don't think I have any way of sending this to my new generated account unless I export my MetaMask private key. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. I think I'm gonna take the stage till now. So
take the stage for a second.
wallet is not exploited.
Yeah. I'm not sharing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Man, this is cursed. This is absolutely cursed.
Oh, by the way, okay. No worries. I can take the stage for now. Okay, another new feature that I'm excited about is the block space, right? So Tempo has this dedicated block space for stable coins. So, and this is not a new concept. There is a project called WorldCoin, if you've heard of them. Solana also has this concept of dedicated block space where the space is reserved for few transaction. In case of Tempo, that is reserved just for stablecoin transaction because they want to stay focused on stablecoin. in comparison to World Chain, for example, World
All
Chain
right,
is
I'll be
trying
back in
to
like 2 minutes.
create.
Give me a sec.
Okay, cool. World Chain is trying to create this human proof of human transaction where, once you get identified by their orb, you prove that you are a human. With that, they are, reserving the block space for the humans, right? So that is fun, right? And similarly, Tempo is trying to do the same. And they have this function. Wait a minute. Am I on the right doc? No. Yes, they have this reserved block space for stable coins. Hmm. Yeah, this is interesting. And then another feature was the fees. I think we have already shared about the FEMM. So there is this native FEMM that automatically converts your token to the validator's preferred fee token and eliminating the need for users to hold any other separate gas token, which is really huge. Of course, if you have been coming from the Ethereum, that's a again pain in the ass for developers. And with native account abstraction, you can like literally pay network fees in any stable coins and batch and concurrent transactions, and then also schedule payments. And you can do modern authentication with like passkeys. That is a good one, like face IDs and with your biometrics. So that is really huge. uh yes, these are the few new features. And what else did I miss? I think that is it, right, Andrew?
Sorry, I just got back. I'm asking someone from the team to send me funds.
We're literally live debugging. Okay.
Yeah.
The TIP20 rewards. Okay, yeah, they do have this TIP20 rewards as well, which is like built-in mechanism that allows for distribution of rewards to token holders. Oh wow, interesting. Oh, I see. Staked in a separate contract. Oh wow, this is really interesting.
What did you find?
The TIP20 rewards one, right? So initially, like right now, you have to like stake your contract, stake your tokens to like get rewards and stuff. But they already have like this TIP20 rewards thing, which is like a built-in mechanism. That's interesting. Oh, so you don't have to stake any tokens. Wow.
Oh yes, yeah. They have like auto rewards. It's not rebate.
Yeah.
I think it's just paying out. I don't think it's actually increasing supply, right? So it's not like a rebase.
No. I think someone did that too, right? There was an L2. What was their name? Blast. They have like native.
Oh yeah, they had
Native yield.
native yield. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a fun one. All right, I think I'm gonna download another wallet. I'm gonna download Phantom just to generate a key for me to safely export. Create a new wallet.
Okay.
Create a seed phrase. Yes. All right.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So also, by the way, there is no MEV on the Tampa blockchain, which is very interesting. I can create a whole separate video and do a different live stream on this, but their architecture is designed in such a way they have like this native VMM. So, there's no probabilistic MEV.
Oh.
There will be MEV though. There will be MEV in the
There's always MEV.
Yeah. There's always MEV.
All right. How do I manage accounts? Developer settings? No. Experimental features. Security,
nice.
privacy.
I think we should do another session on like a whiteboard session on the architecture. I will try to invite someone from Tempo.
Yeah. No, we definitely should. Oh my god. Why is this?
You got it?
No. I'm dealing with crypto UX right now.
Well, let me tell you, we don't have much time. I mean, we were supposed to end in
Yeah.
15 minutes, so you gotta hurry.
Yeah. I'm working. Let me see if anyone. Hold on.
Oh, interesting. The docs are really interesting. So you can actually launch a stablecoin from their docs itself. So you can just sign in, create an account. Let's actually do that. Let me sign in. Check the prompt. Okay. So it is asking me to do it with iCloud keychain. Okay. I might have to create passkeys. I don't have any. Use phone or tablet. Oh,
Okay.
can't do that. But okay.
The team sent me some funds. All right.
Oh, nice. Okay. Should I pass on the screen to you?
Yeah, give me a second to now uninstall Phantom
Okay.
again. All right, remove Phantom. Oh, they minted me Path USD. All right. Yes, yeah, you can share my screen again.
Yeah, you gotta share your screen first.
Okay. All right. So they sent my address. Oh, is it sharing?
Yes.
All right. They sent my address some Path USD, which is token 000. So I'm just going to update this vibe coded script in here.
Okay. And once you do that, can you also give us like an overview, like what we are trying to do here?
Yeah, essentially all we're trying to do is actually send a tempo transaction. And what we want is ideally, well, this is going to be with Path USD. We want to send with 2 transfers in calls and use Path USD as fee token. Because I'm guessing that fees have to be paid in Alpha USD. So if we pay with Path USD, we should see the fee AMM in action. So I think it's trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which is literally just like, how do we see multi-call and how do we see Path USD in an example transaction? Because I think that going through the Explorer, there's no way we're going to find that. I also gave them the feedback of like, hey, on here for the faucet, you should really just let people paste an address because MetaMask does not support transferring the token. Anyways, so or close some of this. So all I told Cursor here was to use VM and to use the new transaction type. And you have to load the RPC public address and private key into here, which you can just generate by running bun run generate wallet. And I have low faith that this will work first try. Token address value, let's do value 1. Call data hex.
Try it out.
This is literally encoding using the ABI. I'm assuming that we're 18 decimals. So let's just does it break?
Let's see.
All right. RPC request failed. Failed to decode signed transaction.
No, it failed.
Send params. All right. There's a few ways around this. One of these is what happens if we just use ETH call? Do you guys support calls yet in here? This is still legacy, I think. If I look here, I can't input calls here. Right. This is still the normal. This assumes that this new transaction type doesn't exist yet.
Yes, I think so.
Which makes sense because again, this is like when you have this new type, there's like thousands of interfaces that now need to be updated to support it. So I can't use this to generate the transaction. They should actually, it would be very nice if Tempo created like a simple Tempo transaction UI that let you build a transaction, see what the request was, and send it, right? Like imagine you had that, like left side is the Tempo transaction, right side is the actual like code using VM. Because I think they tweeted something about VM now has Tempo transaction support, but use Tempo
They did.
actions. Let's see, what are Tempo actions? You can use Tempo, what is this? Use VM actions? You can also use Tempo specific actions. Oh, this is their own SDK that they rolled up into VM because the WeVM or VM team is part of Ithaca, which is now part of Tempo. Shout out to Tom and Jake. So it looks like these are SDK things, but this is all higher level. I'm like, where's my fucking submit transaction? Guys, come on. Tempo. Where is it? Where is it? Chains. Use Tempo actions. That's not what we want. Use VM actions. Nope. All right. Can't find it there. Cursor could not figure it out. I'll say try to debug this and keep trying to send the transaction until it works. It doesn't actually look like we're specifying the fee token in here either. Let me see. How do I... If we go back to all the way back to the spec, fee token is optional here. So we should be able to specify fee token.
Oh, interesting. I mean, if it is optional, then I mean, if you don't specify, then what it is going to use?
It must default then to whatever the validator addresses. But then it's like, I haven't looked enough at the validator because I remember each validator can specify what token they want fees in.
I see.
I don't know.
And then there is the.
Sorry, I don't know if they're expecting the wallets to be able to check and know, like, oh, this is what the current validator's fee token is, and set that as it when it's sent, or if it's, yeah, actually, I don't know, because there has to be some default. There must be some default your wallet uses when it sends the transaction, and this isn't specified.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know if you choose a token, and if the validator doesn't have the token, then using the native AMM, it does the swap, like based on what the validator is using.
Yeah. But it's like, how does it even figure out what it's running? All right.
Valid question. I'm taking the notes.
It's also using. I also realized I was using ETH call earlier, not ETH send transaction. So maybe this is actually. Nope, I lied. Sign transaction. All right, I think we have to actually read this access list. Encode transaction payload. Let me just see if you can just sign this the normal VM way, not with the Tempo specific stuff. Since I think the error is partially coming from how this is being signed, or it thinks that it has to sign it a different way. Create Tempo transaction hash. Oh wait, no, we were already using the right signing, weren't we? Signature account.sign. All right. This is kind of classic. It's too wordy, so I'm going to say, hey, just remove this function and do it inline. It looks like it's trying to do a bunch of other stuff as well. All right. This might be one where we need their help, but it's failing because it's failing to decode from the RPC, which means somewhere along the line, I'm guessing in this create tempo payload, I think it's trying to do way too much. Because we have this new transaction type and it's trying to create and pass all these new things. I also see is it any. Okay. This is something we're going to have to do another session. I'm going to have to ask their team about this. But one thing I do want to just see before we go is we do have, it's not a multi-call, but this one does have a single call. And I am curious how the traces look. I'm just going to close a bunch of these other tabs for now. So if I go debug trace transaction, this is how you get stuff like, and I'll show off herd for a second. When you do like call deploy token on Clanker, there's all these traces for everything that happens after it's deployed or after this first call happens, because contracts call other contracts. This is not exposed on their Explorer. There's just events. Oh, actually, no, they do have a trace. I lied. It looks like it's call. Wait, sorry. Is this the one I was looking at before? No, this is minting. I want to see the crate token. This is calls trace. Ooh, why is why is call coming from the null address? That is worrying me. Let's see what happens. If I put in this transaction hash, I'm looking at the decoded trace of this crate token. And it looks like the first call is to the null address before it calls the TIP factory. So I'm guessing that this is somewhat similar to 7702, where you call your own address in 7702. Technically, if you look at the trace, you're calling your own address, and then that does a delegate call, I believe, to everything else. But it looks like for them, it's doing a call to the 0 address. Anyways, we can verify this by going to this debug trace transaction, and I see it's failed. Why is it failed? Failed true. Okay. Very, very helpful. Any ideas here, Uttam? Let's see. I did copy the right transaction, right? Yeah. Like this, if I do this, this works, right? Yeah, so I can get this, but if I go to debug trace transaction with the same thing, it's failed. I'm guessing maybe that's just not supported yet. Maybe we can replay the transaction. Maybe this works. Oh, okay, all right. So replaying works. Debug trace does not work yet. Again, this is a classic, like, it's hard to support all the RPCs. Those are both pretty popular tracing endpoints. So for anyone who's curious, it's now good to know that that doesn't work. So I can see
what endpoint was it again?
Debug trace transaction.
Debug trace. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna check. Like, I'm taking notes, by the way, everyone. I'm just gonna drop the notes and also tell the Tempo team like what worked, what didn't, because we are literally here to like test.
So the first call in the trace. Oh, this actually looks different. VM trace null. Oh, that's because, oh God, I hate this. Debug trace returns this trace object that's like your trace, your calls, and then within each calls, the traces. I think replay transaction, yeah, it already basically unnests it. So you have trace address where each depth is a child call. So yeah, it is calling to 2 with 0 gas, its own call type. The from is 0 as well. Oh, the from isn't even the wallet. I would have expected that the from here was the wallet address, but it's not.
Interesting.
Which now makes it harder.
But what exactly is happening here? Like, why is this call from 0 address to the 0 address?
That's a good question. So what happened here is I'm calling it from my E7FF, right? And typically for traces, like if I go to this trace on herd, it's this caller, this from calling this contract. And so when this contract is called, it can only call one other thing at a time, right? Versus when I have many calls, like an execute, technically, like there becomes like multiple top level traces. There become multiple trace zeros. which breaks the model of how traces work um, in Ethereum, because Ethereum has
Mhm.
always assumed you call a contract, any other calls are a child of that first call. You see trace address here is 0, right? So like
Mhm.
if I shrink this to call depth 1, you can see there's a 0 trace here, and then everything else is like 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. These are all child
Yeah.
traces. You can't have multiple 0 traces, where like it's like, hey, yeah, this wallet called 5 contracts. That kind of
Oh, I
breaks
see.
all of the data engineering.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
and so to get around that, they've added this 0, this null call at the empty trace, which basically makes it so anyone who's doing typical data engineering is going to be like, oh, the null address is now calling this address, right? Because logically, the way traces work today, it's if there's a child trace, this is being called by this, which is incorrect. So anyone who's building on top of Tempo has to not ignore, but has to kind of switch around how they're showing this. Um,
Mm. Interesting. So
Again, it's a
what does this breaks? Like, if there are any dashboards right now, are they going to break?
yeah. So anything that's like tracking, like who's actually calling this contract, um,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on how they're joining and representing the data. But this
Mm-hmm.
this from being correct is good. So I think for the most part, we'll be able to just ignore this. This just kind of breaks anyone who's using this first trace as like what was the contract called. This is now technically wrong, where it's like, oh, you're going to show that the 0 address was called, um, which like this technically does not match what's in here, where the first call is to here, right? So it's kind of two changes. One is like that 2 input value is now gone because it's nested within calls, and then that first call doesn't actually match this first 2 here, right? So you have to have now this custom mapping of like, oh, if I'm joining traces on transactions per se, I have to join on the second subtrace, so that like
Mm-hmm.
if there were multiple calls, there'd be like trace address 0, trace address 1, trace address 2. I would have to join that to calls 1, calls 2, calls 3, and ignore this top level call here. Um, so it's a slight change. It's hard to say exactly what it breaks per se. But both of these are, well, this is a very big change, because this changes like
Mm-hmm.
anyone who is decoding transactions before and assume that each transaction makes only one call. Now that breaks because you have to unnest this array basically, which was like a big Solana problem, which is unnesting. As soon as you have to unnest or basically expand an array to flatten it, that makes every single SQL query 10 times more expensive. So that's going to be a big impact on teams like Dune, Allium, etc. Because if you keep it as a single row of calls, when you join it, then you have to unnest this, right? And unnesting with a join is also expensive. And yeah, for anyone working with traces data, this just makes things a little more complex. I don't know. Do you know if Tenderly supports Tempo testnet yet? I don't think it does.
I don't think so. No. As far
Because
as
it'd be
I've
interesting.
seen. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. No, I don't think they support it. No, they don't.
No.
It would be interesting to see it. But yeah, this would be a better example if I could send this transaction that had the multiple calls in it, and we could also see the fee being swapped. Because I'm also very curious
Mm.
of like, for that fee swap, is that bundled into calls, or does that actually happen outside of calls, right? Because at some point, if you're swapping, it has to call that contract, right? So then it's like, what happens
Yeah.
if like the fee swap does not actually show up in calls, but it shows up in traces, right? And now it's like, oh, who's actually calling a swap contract? Well, you can't get it from here. You have to get it from here, right? And
Mm.
so, yeah, there's a lot of nuances here about like standardizing across the transactions RPC, the traces RPC, and especially once you introduce precompiles, then like technically you can't trace within the precompile. So like if, for example, VMM was doing a multi-hop, or the path dex or the stable dex was doing like a multi-hop swap, you might not be able to see which paths it's routing through, right? And that's important data for people. But you can't see it if it's in a precompile. But they're saying that it's in actual contracts and not precompiles. So that's also something we'll have to look into more. But a lot to dive into. You know, this is classic kind of like the DevX for any time you know, anyone's trying to learn how to build on a new chain, especially when so many things change. So, you know, it's never pretty. Yeah, it's never pretty, but this is always good for people to start getting familiar with, like, these are some of the changes, these are some of the integrations, like MetaMask not being able to transfer or find that token, you know, things that need to be.
Why was that happening again? Why was MetaMask not able to transfer the token?
I don't know. Because it requires me to add, like, search the asset before I can choose to send it. And it just couldn't find that asset. So then it just didn't let me send it. Right. I would expect, I mean, I guess for safety reasons, they don't let you just paste any address in there. But it's like they should be able to be like, hey, you've pasted an address. Check if it has like the typical ERC20 like functions on it and let you transfer. I don't know. It's very weird that the wallet could not detect the token. But anyways, yeah, stuff like that, stuff like the faucet should be allow you to paste an address, stuff like the fact that Cursor can't just one shot sending of this new transaction type with VM, because the actions are abstracted with tempo actions, but I need support on the send calls. So, you know, a lot of little things. I'm sure the tempo team will hopefully go through this at 3x speed and make some improvements. But yeah, we will.
I'm probably taking notes. Like, I'm probably taking notes. I'm gonna tag the tempo team on Twitter that, hey, this is the
feedback. These are things we ran into. Yeah.
So the feedback is MetaMask token. It didn't detect the.
Going through the faucet and stuff is like the connected wallets maybe don't all support transferring the token, so you should let them paste.
Yes, paste the wallet, and then another one was, of course, Cursor wasn't able to do tempo transaction in one shot. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And the another one was, of course, the tempo transaction UI. So like we would love something like, you know, you can see we can send request, and, you know, left side there's tempo transaction, and then kind of like a sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And few sorry.
Oh no, I just realized the tempo docs do let you fund another wallet, like by pasting. It's just hidden at the bottom of the screen. So here I was looking, where is it? I was looking at this faucet, and I had to scroll down to here, and they're sending a funds to another address.
Oh man, we wasted like 15 minutes.
Yeah. But like classic doc stuff. If you don't put it up front, no one's gonna fucking scroll to it. So,
well, fair. Okay, that's sad.
Yeah.
He's out. Okay. And then another one was the swap. So when you did the transaction, you weren't able to see the swap transaction, right?
When I was looking at the RPC data for, or what was talking about?
Yes, for the RPC data, when you were looking to.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't. I think the ones that the transactions we were looking at were all paid with Alpha USD, so there wasn't a swap in there. I don't know. I haven't. We'd have to test out, I think, ourselves, putting a different fee token to see how the swap works, but we couldn't get that far because we couldn't figure out how to actually encode the transaction correctly.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
but I think it was a good shot. And also the Cursor couldn't do it in one shot is like a great feedback, because of course, like, who reads the docs now? Who codes? Like, everyone writes
benchmark. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then RPC wise, the debug trace transaction didn't work, even though replay did. So that's just
Replay
something.
did, right? Replay worked.
Replay did, yes. But
Yes.
a lot of teams I think still use debug trace,
Oh,
which
interesting.
we do as well, actually.
Yeah, I will have to check with the team if the debug trace method is supported or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is it. We covered almost everything. And we do have a question regarding the default fee. Like if we don't set up, maybe we can try on our own or we can just ask the team.
For what?
For the default fee, so for example, if you are not
Oh
choosing or
yeah.
putting anything.
How does it figure out what to pay with? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
And then we can add this in later of I'll send this to you. I just published the repo. Obviously it doesn't work yet. We're getting help, but we'll make it work. I put in the chat. It's just tempo test on my
Okay, nice.
GitHub. So as we fix it, hopefully people can refer to it and test with it.
Yep, we should do, I think, another one in like part 2.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2. We'll get more of the tempo team's actual support, and then yeah, hopefully get one of them to join us next time so that we're not in the dark as much.
Oh, nice. Okay, almost like 900 people now. Actually, 850 people are watching, which is massive.
Nice.
I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's very excited about it, but also very like, I wouldn't say worried, but it's hard. It's hard to learn these new things, especially when you're used to your scripts and tools and apps working a certain way. It's very easy for devs and users to churn when it's suddenly like, oh, I just don't understand this, or I can't get it to work. So Uttam and I will keep trying to do the legwork to make the stuff easier, and I'm sure that they will have their own. Tempo should have their own dev roles as well. So
Actually, they don't. Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
again to like join us in the next stream, or probably Georgius. Let's
Yeah.
see if we can get them on board. But okay, I think we are at the end of our stream. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope this was helpful, and we might do another part 2 during, I don't know, holidays. So if you're logged in, we are also logged in, and we are probably coming to you again. And if you're building anything on Tempo, Alchemy, go to alchemy.com. We have support for Tempo. You can start building there. If you need any help, you can ping me, and also check out Andrew's profile, and also check out Herd, which is a really great tool.
Great.
Anything
else,
Andrew?
No, that's it. This was fun. Thank you, Tom. Thanks everyone for watching.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care.